advice on. I'm recording this session. Hopefully we can get some good things out of it. But yeah, so I really missed out on a lot simply because I didn't get up. I didn't get my ass up at 5 a.m. and that would have been a good, time to really see these opportunities. All right, so this has gotten me into a trade, it seems. What did it get me into? It got me into a sell, but wow, it got me into the sell a little late, so I can look at the logs and see why it got me in this particular sell. And what I'll do is, because I don't like that it's gotten me into this sell, I'm gonna do, oh, it already took a partial. It already took the partial. You see this is already at 0.26 lot size, so it already took partials. Let me take a look at here. Yeah, history. All right, so it got me up right there for 80 bucks, immediately right there. Quick and easy, to the point. Let's go to trade. Yeah, quick, easy, to the point. It got me in. I'm already protected because you can see the stop loss. You can see that the line is red. So it already got me into the a protected position. So that was the first first trade that was made, but I'm wondering if it was made off of the let's see here. Account history. It doesn't show in the comments here what it shows here. It'll be in my logs here, like the M1. I like to comment M1, M5 so I know which chart it opened. And I can go into my expert logs and I can see exactly what it was that was opened, what it was that
part actually, of I know when I did my trend lines this morning that I ran it at 1 hour, and then I dropped down and looked at 30 minutes, 15, and then when I got to 5, it changed a bit, just above that blue resistance area. It had
meaning like it wasn't like quite 100% on like the swing high.
No, it changed substantial. I've still got, so I redrew my 5-minute lines, or it redrew their own, and they were much tighter. So if you try to look for your H1 trend line breaks, they're a good bit above.
Oh, yeah. You're not going to see that. You're going to be, it'll still be on the chart, which is great. You leave it there. It's just not going to be in play because you're probably just too far away from price action at that moment. But it's always good to leave it there because price will revisit that trend line. It's what we're hoping, right? And that could be a strategy that we would decide, hey, is that going to be a break or a retracement? Oh, I'm sorry, rejection. So, although you don't see it, it's still pretty good to have it there. So it did do a little trade here. I've got, what, 34 bucks running on a 0.26. It took 2 partials pretty quickly, which is quite interesting. It took this one and then it took this one at the same price, at the same point, and it shouldn't have, right? So I shouldn't have 2 targets, 2 positions partialed at the same price, because, right, if I have, 1 target, I should take 1 target, and then it should just now look for the second target, take the second target. Those are going to be at different points. So why this took 2 partials at the same time is something I'm going to have to dig into. So what I usually do is I will ship this log here. That's going to be on this side here. This log here, I usually ship this to, let me see if I can expand this. I usually ship this log. It tells me exactly what's happening, that, hey, it detected a bearish lightning bolt, but price wasn't in my fib zone. It tells me everything. It'll tell you everything about how this EA is working, per se. There were thoughts with my team to just decrypt or encrypt it so that no one can really see it, and then decrypt it when I view it myself. So that's something that we may see, we may not, but if anyone has problems with it, I'll ask you guys, ship your log file to me, or maybe I'll have an option to click on ship log file. You guys will look at it. It'll be all, all encrypted. You won't be able to understand it. I'll receive it on this end. I can look at it, view it, and read it properly. So I may encrypt and decrypt on this end. But I can look at this and see exactly what's going on and why things got me in position and why they did not, which is pretty good. So that's that. Put this here. Only because I don't want to show everything all the time. All right, so that it did partial me out on that that third position I had running. I shouldn't have anything running now because I think it hit my stop loss. And because it hit my stop loss, I'm in zero position. So all I do right now at this point is I wait. So I do have these pending orders here that are sitting. Once again, these are green lines for everyone that just joined. These are green lines that are pending positions. So every time I get like an LB, and it may not even put me in that LB trade. It's saying, okay, hey, an LB triggered. Now let me see if there are other confluences that I need to get into that position. So it's still going to paint the LB, but doesn't mean that it's going to trade it, right? So once I get that LB, whether it trades it or not, it's looking for an opposite position to trade.
Right.
And that's where it's really good, because if the LB doesn't play out properly, like for example, in these scenarios here, we got an LB here, we got an LB here. Where is it? We got an LB here, we had an LB here. They're not playing out. We're thinking price will shoot up because we're getting an LB, but we didn't get enough push. But there would be a trend line at certain levels. I'm sorry, trend line, a pending order at certain levels that will get us into the opposite trade. And in this case, it would have played out properly. It would have played out because it did not fire, and then there would have been a pending order that is somewhere at a swing low, and then it would have gotten us into position. So, that's really, that's a really, I think, a really powerful feature, because it definitely gets me into additional trades as well. But it also, what it's going to do is also, once I incorporate the trend lines into this, it'll create pending orders.
Dimmi il volo.
The trend line. So if you got background noise, just mute yourself. And unmute when you have, when you want to talk. I see up in here. I see Christian. I see Ben. I see everybody up in here. All up in Mike. I got Fred up in here. Nice. What up, Fred? I got you up in here. What's the deal?
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great, man. How are you doing, brother?
Good, man. You were running some good numbers yesterday.
Yeah, lately we've been doing some decent numbers, so we don't show a whole lot, but we've running some good numbers lately. It's been good.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. That's excellent.
Hoping to turn out for a good solid week. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Yeah, so here, price, look at this. So on this M5 versus M15, there are no zones, right? So I don't see any zones on my M15. Let me repaint this, or let me go on my experts and see what's going on here, because the EA, it does consider, it stacks the confluences. When we're trading it manually, we're looking at, hey, is it rejecting a zone? Is it the lightning bolt? But the EA ties all those confluences together, and it says, hey, it's got to be rejecting a zone. I got to have an LB. I've got to have these things. So because there's no zones, being displayed here right now, from here down, like this is not I would think this would be a zone somewhere historically, but it's not painting it. But if the LB struck at that level, I'm not going to get into the trade, because a part of the code is that I've got to reject a zone as well. So yeah, that sucks that it's not there, but I mean, it keeps me out of trouble. So I mean, I've got zones all the way back to 2000. Let's go to 3000 and see if there's some historical zones there. A 2,000 bars back. Let's see. Nope. So there's nothing I could do. I've got to wait for zones to hit. as well. Here are pending orders. These pending orders are sitting out here, but I'm curious to see what's going to happen because this is very highly, this is, I could still push. I mean, I'm looking at my trend lines on US 30 and my order trend lines in US 30, and it looks like it could really continue to push down further, but at the same time, it is approaching what I see is a zone. So it's really concerning to me because I can get knocked out quick. Right, so I'm already at a negative. Let's see what happens. It got me in that trade. And it got me in that trade, but then it partialed me out. This is quite interesting. It got me into two positions and it partialed me out already on one immediately. So there's a, and that was on the M1 LB. So there's a little glitch there. It partialed me out again just now. And look, I'm already running at a 0.26. So I'm wondering what's part, I've got to look and really dig in and see what's partialing me out here. Right, see it partialed me out. It got me out of $200 automatically, but I don't like that it partialed me out so quickly. It shouldn't have partialed me out so quickly. So I've got to dig in and see why were my targets so tight. Let's see here.
Yeah, I really do, but I'm wasting my profits. I work from work.
Yeah, I'm going to mute you, Mike. All right, so let's see here. So it's splitting the ticket, it's showing it's splitting the ticket. It attempted to move the stops to break even, it did. I want to see the reasons why it, well, this is why it didn't get into a trade, but why did it partial out so quickly? So this is where on this machine, on my dev machine, I've got stuff I could import the code and find things a little bit faster. So I'm going to save this for the day, record this, and then ship it to my dev machine and understand why. I haven't seen that behavior before. It was, it's not what I want to see when it's trading, because I had two. I mean, it did keep me out of trouble when you think about it, right? Because it spiked down and it really kept me out of trouble. Because look at this here, price shot back up immediately. So it really kept me out of trouble. I'm not going to complain about that. Maybe it saw something that I'm not remembering what I programmed. But we'll see. This is a great LB, everyone, on this M1. Because when you're looking at it at different time frames, it really popped open. This is the market open. We'll see, and I'm running this on market open, so we'll see what happens on market open. You know, I don't usually, this is so brand new. Once again, I've got some positions up here that's going to be a pending order entry that we'll see what it does if it gets me in. I don't have duplicates here, so that's great. Let's see if it gets me in. Because it's market open, I really don't like these pending orders unless we're on another side of a trend line, which I don't have that logic built in yet, because this could get me in and immediately close me out. So I'm just going to monitor it closely. I may close it out manually myself. So far, I didn't open or close anything manually, and we're sitting on, you know, $200 profit for the morning. Even with that glitch that I think I just saw, I don't know if it's a glitch or not. I've got to just dig deep and figure it out and see why did it partial those positions out so quickly. Kept me out of trouble. I like that, but you know, could be a hindrance also.
It probably ran that 15-minute divergence on, and it was huge. It pushed it back up really hard.
On the 15?
Yeah.
It could have. I do have divergence built in there. Do I have it on this chart enabled? Well, it's always enabled there, but do I have it here as an option? It says onside divergence false, but I got to look at my other charts. I could have something on the other one that could be reading the divergence. and seeing that also. Maybe it decided to get me out because of the setting, but this is something that I can enable, and it will be a part of entry and exit. I mean, this thing is going to, depending on, I mean, this thing is going to give you our LB reversals, or it could be continuations if it's a fib retracement with an LB rejecting a zone, or a trend line. You're going to have trend line breaks, LB zones. I'm really just, this is going to be a really good price action indicator and expert advisor. I mean, this is going to be really, really kick-ass is the way I see it, especially for the last few weeks since I've been kind of testing it and fixing it and testing it again. I mean, I'm making numbers, you know, I'm making my numbers not as much as I normally, but I'm making numbers. Yesterday, I actually made more than what I would on a normal day, which was freaking awesome. Yesterday was just an amazing day. And I don't know if it was just market conditions that just looked so well, but this is going to get me into a buy stop in a matter of seconds. And I don't like it, right? Because I'm literally sitting on, you can see this is going to be a trend line here, right? It's going to be a trend line sitting right here, because I see it on my other chart. The trend line is sitting right here, and price is literally, you know, that is not even above that trend line. So that's super risky. It didn't get me in yet, but it's super risky. It did pick this area because I don't have the trend lines built into the logic of the year yet. I'm going to leave it as is. I'm okay with it failing positions and such, as long as you know, I can figure out why and then critique and correct it. Yeah, so this thing's going to give you a whole lot. It's going to give you the fib breaks. I mean, even with the script, you can run those fib breaks. You know, just plan it out the previous night or early morning. See if fib breaks for the current day, for the current session, market open. Get in on those trades. I mean, that's always going to be, you know, when you have that fib break at certain key levels, especially major levels of like support and resistance, and if it's breaking them both, I mean, that thing can run. You know, if you guys were in on trades last week, I wasn't active in the community because I was out traveling, but I was in on those trend line breaks on the downside on US 30 and 8. And coincidentally, the EA did get me in those trades automatically, but it just lined up with those trend line breaks that I had drawn out also. So, I mean, it was really, really good. So let's see what's going on here. So this M1 was fantastic. It was, although I don't see any historical zones. Let me just see here. Was there one historical zone here? Yeah, not even here. We were just like below. We're just in kind of like no man's land for as far as zones are concerned, unless we use this one as this area here as a zone. You know, if we were manually trading, we probably would have drawn out a zone at this level, and then it kind of rejected it and pushed up. This M1 was a good trade. I don't think I would have gotten into it because I don't see zones. I don't see my confluence. Where's my confluences for this particular trade? It's just a lightning bolt, right? And the zone was drawn out at the lightning bolt time period. So for me, I'm not getting in on, it's like having a trend line break when you have 2 points, you know, and it's breaking your second point on the same bar you drew it on. It makes no sense, right? You got to have some historical information behind it, right? So I've got to see a zone that's been in place previously and then see a break. Same thing with the trend line. You've got to have, you know, your A and your B, your 1 and your 2 points drawing a trend line, but you don't, you know, draw it up to the previous bar and then wait for the break to go. No, you're too close. You got to make sure it's a respected trend line, right? So you got to have that historical information. What I should do is I should throw up here another chart. Well, I've got the I don't have the H4 on here. What's the H4 looking like? What do you see on the H4, Fred? Anything exciting or based on your analysis?
Yeah, I mean, I was just waiting for this pullback, so this sell down, and then, you know, to find some support from there, and then, you know, see if we move on up.
Yeah.
You know, if we find solid support, but yeah, I was waiting for that retest. I took the sell down. It was a nice sell. I caught it running like 60 today, and that was a nice drop. But I actually traded the drop on NAS, which was straight to a T, very simple, very, very easy. Nice. And then this, I actually took a sell at the top of this retest because it was retesting the zone.
Yeah, yeah.
right here. So I just took a sell at the top. Of course, you said your trend line, you know, but I just took a sell there at the top of that, and that's got me in a little decent profit here, just because it's just really ugly on the 5 minute, and I don't think it's hit the bottom as far as like the zone isn't confirmed. It needed to go a little bit farther down. I mean, I was expecting it to retest a wick there at 33, like 786, but actually a little bit lower down would have been, you could go all the way down. I mean, we can still go all the way down a little bit more.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. You can definitely go down a little bit further. I'm seeing 516, 786 for sure. I mean, even our deep retracement would be all the way back down to 417. On the 15-minute, it definitely is respecting a trend line. And then for your seller, it's a great opportunity, because what I'm seeing also is that it's rejecting the 50 and also the 20 and the trend line and a zone. So yeah, that was a good one. It was a good play. Very cool. Very, very cool. Very cool. Very cool. I mean, yesterday was amazing. Yesterday was just an amazing Monday. I mean, everything.
It was crazy, dude. It was great. I posted that before market even opened, and then closed out of it, and it rains like 2 or 3 more times, and I was able to do it over and over again. It was just crazy. Hopefully everybody got to, I know everybody was eating off of that yesterday. It was wild.
Yeah, it was wild. It was a good day. Very, very good day. I mean, everything just looked nice and clean. You know, when at first it looked a little ugly to me when I first looked at it. I'm like, I wonder how this EA is going to manage it, because I saw some wicks and stuff. Once it broke out of that zone and started to really, get its momentum, I mean, the thing was just perfect. It was just a perfect play.
Yeah,
Perfect.
absolutely. Yeah, I was curious to how much we were going to get today. For sure, a pullback coming in to come back down some, but especially after that big hard push, we almost hit 34,200, which was crazy finally at the end of the day, but
Yeah.
which was wild. It took all day to do it.
Yeah.
But definitely come back to confirm what I would call the breakout zone. So where we broke out of the resistance yesterday, we're coming back to retest that today.
Nice. Interesting. So that's interesting. So when you trade, you have and this is stuff, that's why I have to still, you and I still have to get on the one-on-one, and I'm getting closer. I still have a few glitches. But maybe we need to talk, because you trade with, and a lot of people trade this way with a final target in mind, right? So, you could say, hey, the final target is going to be, whatever it is, 500 or something, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's any value with having that in an EA as input to say, if it hits final target, that then it closes all positions or creates runners, and it doesn't get into any more trades, because the LB could see, this indicator could see other opportunities, but maybe it shouldn't be after our final target. Maybe it should just be on the reversals.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, what we're doing is really just playing zone to zone. So we're like, but these are very high key zones. The key is like the identification between very significant key zones, and then the market's playing between those. You're going to have a lot of other zones in between that at smaller time frames and other areas. But once you've identified the key ones and the market plays those are your targets. And typically those targets will turn into sales. So if you've hit your target after confirmation, of course, it will turn into a sale. But I mean, there's probably definitely some value there for sure. So like if you were to look at, like a great example here is, if you're looking at the 1 hour right now, you can see where it was a beautiful target that we went straight to 34,196. If you take a look, you can see the first green candle up on the far left side. When we were falling down, you can see the first green candle we broke below the 800 on the 1 hour.
On the 1 hour. Do I have
Yeah.
1 hour? I don't even think I have a 1 hour up. I don't, I'm just running the 30. This thing got me
Oh,
into
is it
another trade. Let's just see here what happens there. I'm sorry. This
Oh,
one
you're good.
is
You're good.
a buy off of the M1 LB, which is going to be super risky. So I'm going to the targets are way up here. So let's see what happens, but I am going to protect it. And I may take a partial quickly. I'm going to protect, and I'm going to take a partial.
Yeah, it's getting close to that. It's back at the back at the breakout zone. So
Yeah,
I'm not surprised that it's starting to look at turnarounds on the one.
yeah. So now it got me into another buy on the M1, and it's already up more. I'm going to do the same thing. This one I'm just going to protect. Once again, I'll pick a protect button, protect it, and I'm going to look at that. It's going to knock me out. It's probably going to knock me out on that second position. It still has me in, knocked me out on that position, and this one is reversing, and we'll see what happens here. I'm up $100 there. If I go to account history, I think I'm up now $263 automatically. Yeah, I mean, this is what it's about. Bigger lots, bigger accounts, bigger profits automatically. So it's going to be very, very interesting. This is all for, this is during tests. So we'll see what happens. And look what happened. Oh no, it didn't. My target's up here. Okay. I was wondering why it removed it. I think it removed the target because I manually processed it. That's interesting. Okay, now this is going to get ugly. This is going to turn against me now. Look at this. So
Yeah,
this
it's not
got me to another one. And I'm going to let this eat up my profits if I have to, because I have to learn from it and see what's going on here. So I don't care if I lose this trade, I'm going to let it run and see what happens, because it's definitely going to push down. Definitely. I should have a pending order that'll catch the reversal anyway, so I'm okay with this right now. I mean, unless, of course, drawdown goes really, really way out of control. But right now, it's at just $250 automatically. And this is the interaction that you'd have with DEA, where you could go in and you could say, you know what, let me close a position, or let me partial it out, or I don't like the decision that's made. Let me do what I need to do to help it, and that's what we will do. It did get us into this additional position and a second one, because it's finding new buy opportunities, because it's seeing an upward trend, which could be risky at times. But look at this. So I'm going to take a partial at 524. I'm going to take that manually, and I'm going to protect the other position. So we are up already on $471 plus 151 running automatically. Right. So this is great because I'm not having to think about my entry. I'm only having to think about, am I allowing this thing to run in the proper market condition? Do I need to turn off a chart? Do I need to, I'm going to take that partial. Do I need to, turn off a market, a chart off the EA off the chart? Do I not like the condition? Oh, you know what? Things are looking great. Let me turn it back on. That's basically it. And right now I'm already up $621. And if you guys notice, with $200 runner, I am not making these decisions for entry. I am hoping it along. I don't like this thing making decisions for me. I'm going to close this out on that one, and I'm going to disable. It's buying in a lot, but I'm going to disable the live trading on the M1. It's just, for me right now, with all these entries, it's looking at opportunities and re-entries per candle, and it's saying, hey, things are safe. My previous position is in profit. I'm in a bullish candle. Previous condition looks bullish, and now I'm making a decision to scale in, which is great. And you can define the number of positions, the maximum number of positions you want the EA to allow you to run. So I could actually put in here under, where is it? Where is it? Oh, maximum simultaneous positions is 3. So for the M1, it would create 3 re-entries automatically. It did knock me out of that position. I no longer have any positions. And that was a $3.90 L on that one. I'll show you here. And let's see. Yep. So I'm already at, that was a $3.90 loss on that stop loss on that break even SL, and the EA is already at $680 for the day. And I should have some, here's another pending order on the opposite side. So we'll see if it gets us into this trade and if it will manage the profits properly. Yeah, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to also start choosing another. I think maybe I'll just go with NAS. I'm just concerned about being kind of like double exposed. You see, the way this is creeping up and playing at this level, I'm really concerned about this pending order that we've got here. Right, this pending order right here that we've got, I'm concerned that it could get me in this pending order and then reject this zone area, this area, and then continue to push up. Right, because pending orders is selected. The thing about the pending order is that it's created at a price point where it thinks there could be good opportunity, but down the road, once we get to that price point, because it's going to be price over time, so it's going to be in the future price and future time, that the market conditions could have changed, or the opportunity could have changed now from what it was when it made the first decision to set the pending order. So it'll be quite interesting. That beep it just literally made, and I'm going to turn this 1 minute back on, just because I didn't want to have so many positions running. So I'm going to turn this 1 minute back on and give it a second, because this is I'll let it come back down, creep down a little bit, because this is a nice big push, one single bar push. We'll see here. I'm looking at my other chart for anything that could look like it could push up before I enable it, because I don't want to enable it and then it gets me into, actually I'm going to cancel out right now, and then it gets me into a buy, and then things just drop. So we will see. Yep, so 680 automatically for the day.
Beautiful.
Yeah, with a few little glitches though, right? Because yeah, you know, a few little glitches, because once again, those first positions it took, it got me in twice, which is what I expected, but then it closed out. I mean, it was processing that single target twice for a position. So I had one lot, it would split me to 50 to 0.25 immediately, which it should not do. But I'll dig in once again. I'll dig in. I'll share with you guys what I find. So this looks like it's some, still some heavy downward pressure. And then it's going to, yeah, you see, so here it's going to get to this level, this zone here. There should be a zone here, I would imagine, a zone. The M30 is not painting this out. What's interesting is what I'm doing on these is I'm running charts of the same time frame of the time period. So my M30 is running M30 zones. My M1 is running M1 zones instead of M1 running M5. When I'm auto trading, my M30 is running M30 zones. My M1 is running M1s. You know, if I were to choose a hour chart, my hourly chart is running as well, the same time period. Yeah, so Jack is asking, I'm just looking at the chats now. Jack is asking for the EA, for our EAs to run, for your EAs to run like mine, would you need the same zones? Yes, but it will have, you will have the same zones, because once again, you're not going to have that. You can choose which zone you're running on, but because I like it to refresh over time, every few bars, I think I've got it, every 6 bars, it's repainting the zone. But if you guys know, the only way to repaint the zone is for your chart to change to that time period that you set the zone up, and then change back to your lower time period. So I just set it up for it to run on the same chart time period. You guys could do the same thing, and it will just run, M1s will manage its own zones, and 5 will manage its own zones, and that's it. Yeah, so the EA will automatically draw the zone, so we're not having to, change the time periods. So I've got to look
Looking
at,
at
I'm sorry.
33.
Go
I
for
was
it.
looking at like 33,585.
585. Wow. That's like one of your targets.
Yeah, that's
Interesting. And why did you choose this target?
it's the baseline level of support at the bottom where we broke up from. It's
Mhm.
not the rejection area. We're at the rejection area where we broke out of. But if we break this area, we'll cruise on down to where our baseline of support was originally, which would give us another retest of that area if we decide to cruise on down. NAS did, and it played out beautifully for me. I'm way up right now, crazy. So I'm assuming that we're going to do the same. We'll go down, head down to those wicks off of the 30-minute at 33,580. And if you look at that line, those wicks, it's a perfect indecision baseline across.
Nice. What I want to do is I want to figure out a way where I could easily, I think we could, I think I've got the package of Zoom where multiple people can share their screens. So it'd be nice if, for people that they want to, they could just throw their chart up or, explain what they're seeing. Or of course I could open up that chart. I'll just have to open it up on another window and not run the EA on that chart window. For example, I do like another chart to be up, like the M4 for sure. I'm sorry, the H4 for sure.
Have you ran that on NAS at all yet, or no?
Say again.
Have you ran that on NAS at all, or
I
no?
have not, and that's what I was just thinking. Is I want to run this on NAS. I think I'm going to set this up to run on NAS, or put it on a different account, like a demo account, on a different server, and we could hop between servers. I've got to figure out a way where we could do it quickly. Almost like I just want to click a button and then I just share a different screen, like something like that. And oh, I can do that. No, I could do that this way. No, I could do that this way, because I could just on the Mac, I could just swipe left and right to a different virtual machine. Okay, yeah, no, I could do that, because then I want to take a look at how NAS is running also on this machine.
Man, absolutely, because I just feel like it's just so much smoother.
Really, yeah, I'm gonna have that set up for tomorrow, and we'll take a look then for sure. We'll include that in tomorrow's trading to get that running. I'll have just a different machine running it, and then we'll just bounce between the two. Look at that, I enabled it, and it immediately put me into a trade. I didn't want to enable that M1, but the minute I just enabled it just now, it put me into that trade automatically. But it could still be very, very risky. Let's see if it has these. There's an issue I mentioned with taking targets on bullish positions. Coming down, it's taking them perfectly, but there seems to be a lag when it does it on a bullish position. So I'm going to help it, because I think it's going to lag. Let's see here. If it doesn't take the partial one, now it touched it, but it didn't take that partial. So I'm going to give it another shot. And if not, I'm looking up here, guys. You see it's bouncing down. I should have taken it. Yeah, should have taken it. Let's see what happens. Yeah, don't like that. Don't like that. Should have taken it at that time. Like it should have. This is what I'm saying when it's a lag. Like price literally touched that target line, and it didn't take the partial immediately. Sometimes it takes a moment, and it's something to do with my logic, I think, which I'm going to obviously dig into and figure out. So I'm going to help it along the way, and I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to have to protect it. Oh, I can't protect it because it's below price already. So let's see here. Let's see what it does. If it's going to drop, at least I'm down by half position, take half the loss. Let's see what happens. You see, and even the buys removed. The minute I took the partial manually, it removed all the targets because it says, hey, I can't find that ticket number because, you know, when you take a partial, it changes the ticket number. So it removes the targets automatically. It cleans up automatically, which it should know and look at history and say, hey, this ticket number came from the master ticket number of X, Y, and Z. So these are little things, Fred, that, you know, when we talk, I say, man, I got these bugs I got to fix. This is the type of stuff, because I know when you see it, you're gonna break it and you're gonna, you know, critique it and you're gonna find some stuff. But I want to get rid of the obvious stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like those little things. And it's not rocket science. These are just like oversight things that, you know, when you're programming and you're pulling it all together, these are just like little things that just, it's normal for it to slip through, and you just gotta, you just gotta figure it out.
Absolutely.
So I am protected. The EA currently for the day is up $724. All automatic, and hopefully this will run up a little bit more and give us a little bit more profit. So the M1 is like the risky one, right? That's the trade. That's the chart that I really like to turn off and turn on automatically. You see, it's gotten me into more positions. I don't like that, but it's gotten me so many, you know, so fast. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at history. I saw these 3 lines. I'm like, oh no, wait a minute. No, it's fine. I'm only in one position, 1/2 position here, which is the buy. And what's great is, like, you know, if anyone's trading this today, you guys are, you know, we're having to make those decisions. Like we're saying, hey, you know, it's bouncing off this and that, which is great, which is fantastic. But what's great is that you can change your position when it's coded like this, and you understand that you can change your job, right? Your job is no longer looking for the opportunities, but just looking at market movements and looking at market conditions and just seeing, is it favorable for you to release the EA on or not? And that's it. I'm gonna take that there because
it's really puts you in auto drive, which is just, you know, makes you an observer and an analyzer, which is amazing, because I mean, it takes a lot of the work, takes all the work out of it per se.
Yeah.
And it just lets you kind of be a backseat driver.
Yeah. 100%, 100%. And what's great is that, you know, if your style is that, you know, I don't like to take targets based off of, you know, what Squawk's taking. Squawk takes it on the 2051. Well, plug in what you want. You know, you can have it where you can plug in your SMA targets or your fib targets. And maybe what I'll do is I will, because, you know, I was speaking with Chris earlier, or I may even just add a pip target. Just put in your pip target. And it'll be, you know, you could put in pip targets, maybe not in terms of price, but maybe you say, you know, 25, 10, 20, and that would partial at 25 pips profit, and then another 10 pips in profit, and then another 20 pips in profit. It'll just, you know, kind of like be parsed like the way this is with commas. And you can put in your pip targets, and it'll just know from your opening price, these are the targets that you're meeting, and I'll just partial them out. So you can adjust those in real time, anytime, and it'll just automatically take those partials as well. Right, because our big thing is, how do we get into position? How do we get out? And a lot of us are just not fast enough to get in and out. A lot of us, you know, it takes a second. I mean, it really does. Sometimes if you miss your opportunity, it could be gone in a split second. And if this can execute getting you in and help you manage getting out, that's all we want. And I'm going to take this partial because I would have taken a partial at this level. This is my 100, which is a part of my take partial targets. But because it removed it, because I manually I manually took a partial and changed the ticket number, I gotta fix that. It removed the target lines. So I'm taking them automatically. And right now the EA is up. If I go to account history, the EA is up $859 for the day. Fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. With a $122 runner. Look at that. And I touch the next one. What is this? The 2, and my 200's there. So I'm going to take that partial also. Boom. And I'm running at nothing right now. I'm running at a 0.06, running at 54 bucks. And that's at 921. All automatic.
Oh, this thing wants to run.
Yeah, this thing wants to run for sure.
So that zone was the original breakout zone from the push up yesterday. So they just came back to retest it, and then immediately obviously didn't break it, just confirmed it, and then it danced, and it's, you know, it's pushed up and held. So as my rule of thumb is, like, if a zone has been confirmed, once it's confirmed, you know, anything above, it's everything above that. So
Yeah,
you need to look for opportunities staying above always, no matter what.
correct. Yeah. Yeah, so Mike is saying his problem is entries. He seems to get in at the wrong time or not fast enough. Yeah, that's a part of it. We all know how to trade. We all know what to look for, but you know, there's a disconnect between what we know and what we do. And hopefully this will close the gap.
He's bridging the gap between human and software.
That's right. You know, leverage it. It's so funny. When I used to work for this company in New York, we had, like, you know, clients like General Motors, and, you know, every developer had a client assigned to them. And mine was like General Motors. I had some pharmaceuticals running these systems, and they kept giving me more work. And everyone's saying, well, why do you take on this work? And because I automated everything. Everything was automated. So I would sit at my desk and I would just do what I'm doing here. I would just watch it. Like, I've always automated shit. I mean, so that's my thing. Like, when I'm in a job, I automate it, you know, and that's just the norm. I'm not afraid of putting myself out of a job. You know, I never was that guy, because I'll go somewhere else, you know, but they found value in it. And I've always automated my stuff. You know, whenever there was an opportunity, you know, for me to automate something, that was always what I've done. So, you know, it's just, you know, I've got a knack for that. So I want to get this to a point once we break it where it could be trusted, and maybe we have, you know, I'm just thinking out loud, you know, the things that I talk about. And Fred, I know we've talked about a few things, but sometimes I'll talk about things, or I just have it in my head that even if we had, like, you know, just a bunch of people in the group, and we just become like these managers of the EA, and we just make sure 2 sets of eyes are on, you know, each currency pair or indice, and we just trade it, let it run, let it do what it does, and whatever the monies are, you know, are whatever people have contributed. And if it's growing, I'm just thinking out loud, like, it'd be crazy if we had a follow the sun model where we've got 2 sets of eyes monitoring this screen all the time, and all we're doing is just making decisions on, hey, you know what, let's disable that M1, or, you know what, you know, let's enable it again, and let's change the lot size because it's risk, you know, just those kind of decisions. And we become, you know, risk mitigators, like truly risk mitigators, as opposed to traders.
That's exactly what it would be. Yeah, I mean, that'd be unlike anything else. I mean, super valuable for sure. I mean, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've been saying 800 plus and under an hour. I started to Zoom at 9:10 this morning. It's now 10:07. Yeah, so this thing has got me up quite a few hundred within the hour. 921 right now I'm running at. Yeah, I mean, it's good shit.
It is solid. Let's go.
Yeah. Yes, I'm going to load up NAS, and I'm going to drag over my trend line. I've got some fixes from people already that I've worked on. I'm going to drag that over here too, so we can draw out these trend lines. I want to see the trend lines on this screen, and also I want to see NAS on here as well. And maybe I'll just drop the lot sizes to, like, you know, where I could partial out at least 3 times. So maybe I'll do like a 0.06, right? And set that as the lot size for NAS, just so we can see it run and see it at least partial out 3 times. 6 could go to a 1.5, could go to a 0.7, and break it down a little bit as it's hitting these targets. But yeah, I'm curious, definitely curious to see how it runs.
I think it'll smoke NAS. I mean, NAS just did me like, it's just so smooth. Like when it breaks, it runs, it hits its own, its targets, it's very smooth in that transition to do so.
Yeah.
It went bonkers this morning on the drop. So I'm up like 3 times what I did yesterday.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Literally.
That's fantastic.
The drop was crazy this morning.
Really? That is great. And those are those life-changing numbers.
Yeah, man, we trying to do the thing, take care of everybody. So
That's right.
We got to up it.
That is great. So let's see here, no LB. So what happens is, if I get a LB, what it will do is, what I have it set up now is that if I get an LB, it will automatically change all positions in the opposite direction. Right. And then I want to be able to toggle that on or off, because I want to have set instructions around that. Well, maybe you just take a partial, right? And then you protect and let the runner run and just see what it does. Because it could be, we've plenty of times during trends, we've seen fake outs where we'll see like a little, what it looks like is going to be a reversal. And then I would close my position out and then it shoots up. Like that happens often, right? So, I'm going to just expose those options also so that people can make their own decision. So it didn't get me in the, what is this? Oh yeah, so it got me in a sell automatically and partialed it out already.
Great, super good sell off of that.
Yeah.
That was really smart.
Got me in the sell all automatically. And you see it took that partial because it touched that 20 SMA. So, and then stuff like, hey, if my closest target is within a threshold, don't use it. Like things like that is what I want to, add on, but I want to just knock out some of these little kinks that I see. I'm already protected, so it doesn't even matter at that point, but it took the partial automatically and the account is sitting at 967. I took a very small profit on that one, like $40, but it's running at 967 profit automatically. So like I said, I was in that buy. It took that, it closed out my buy position of $30 and put me into the sell and profited 37.63 with a now a $90, 98% win. And you see it took that partial automatically again here. So there's definitely a difference in this behavior when I'm in the sell and buy, and that could just be a typo or something. The logic should be the same. Usually it's just in the reverse order when I program it. So there's something that I missed, but I'm not too worried about that. I think that's an easy fix. So it took the partial and now I'm at 1,043 profit. And for that leg of the trade, that sell, I did absolutely nothing.
That was super sniper, great sell off of that rejection of the same zone again.
Yeah, and that would close me out. Exactly. That was super, super sniper. And what happens is, you see, there's so many different things that I think of when I trade because it's like what I normally do, but I can only make it as close to human, thinking as possible.
For sure.
Unless I really enable some real AI, artificial intelligence, where it's storing facts and it's looking at branch data, right? Like when people say, "Oh, my algo is AI," I've seen somebody online, not to mention anyone, "Oh, it's AI." I'm thinking, "Oh, that shit ain't. It's not." But if I was really storing facts, like I told you, like I saw that lightning bolts, but if I was storing facts and say, "Hey, there's 3 or 4 different scenarios, and this is what it plays out over time," and then it starts to make decisions on which fact it should follow, which path it should follow based on historical information always, then it begins to make different decisions that could change over time as the market changes. That's different. But for example, my point was here, like it did not get me into this trade until this close, right? This was a long candle. This was a very long candle here, and it got me in on the open of the next candle and this is an M1, so I couldn't have really moved faster, right? But if this were on an M5, I want to post this out to the M1. I want the M5 to say, hey, look, man, I got these opportunities. I've got to wait 4 more minutes, but I'm going to hand this off to the M1, the earlier time frame, and let the M1 make decisions on when it should make the entry at that point. So I can get even an earlier entry, right? Because it would have been great if I got in mid candle here, if this were M5 and I got in just a little bit earlier.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, and it knocked me out. You know, it knocked me out. I'm out. I'm sitting at 1,039. I took a $2 loss, $2.86 loss when it knocked me out. But it kept running. So, you know, my pending orders are great for re-entering a bad trade in the opposite direction. But I need to have other opportunities where I look for re-entry opportunities. Right? There are re-entry opportunities. So if price shot up again, and now it was somewhere around this lightning bolt, and that previous lightning bolt would qualify again and get you back into a sell. So there are re-entry opportunities there, but not re-entry opportunities in the single, you know, push down trend. You know, that one single leg, I'm out the trade, so I can't, it's not going to do anything until either another lightning bolt strikes or it retraces up and reactivates the previous LB and validates it and continues. So right now, unfortunately, I'm out of this. This could push down so forever, and I'm out of the market right now.
We might get
fine, but hey.
now.
Right, normally I would have probably gotten back in. I would have said, hey, you know what, it knocked me out, but look, it's showing signs. It broke through my zone now. It's below my zone. It's below the previous lowest bullish bar, and then maybe I would have gotten in. You know, it's more impulsive, but this doesn't do the impulsive entries, you know, which is fine. But you know, we want all those pips.
Yeah, that sell was super valid and beautiful that it took off the top zone, because if you reading off of the 30, you would notice that that was another rejection off of the 50 again for the third time. So that could possibly give us this push all the way down and break through this little area that it found support from originally and kind of take it on down farther.
Yep.
Even if that was the third heavy rejection off of it.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. So yep. Yeah, that was perfect. It was nice. It rejected the zone. We're still in this area where I don't have major zones at all. So let's see if it can push it all the way down. It'd be great. I've got this little pending order sitting here at this level. Once again, I'm still a little concerned about it, but just because it's so close to the top of this little mini zone here, right? Where I'm thinking price could penetrate, get me in this, and then retrace, and then I'll be in a jam. But I'm going to let it do what it does. What it does. So all of my trades were based off the M1 today, which is when I say, hey, you know, the M1 is a little fast, but it's the M1 is really what gobbled up all these pips right now.
I mean, that's some beautiful profits off the M1, just really taking that ranging. I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, honestly, it's super safe. You would say it's risky, but it's not, because the way it protects, the way it partials, how fast it is.
Yeah,
it's honestly not risky at all. I mean, it's just so quick and out, even though you're monitoring it a little bit, but still it's doing most like 90% of everything. So it's like, I don't consider that risky at all. I mean, even if it did take 1 or 2 losses, they're not even, you know, 0.1%. So it's
exactly.
So small. It just, you know, the wins compound it and, you know, outdo the losses. So I think it's amazing, dude. Like, that's phenomenal, bro.
Nice. Well, I definitely appreciate that for sure. And what happens is if it were running against me, the minute price moves 50% between the distance of open and the stop loss, is going to take 50% anyway. It's going to take some risk off the table. So you'll be running at half the size if if the price moves halfway between your open price and stop loss as well. So it does try to eliminate risk also, right? Because that's what I normally do. So it got me in 2 positions here. So I must have had them stacked. I didn't notice that. It had got me in 2 positions. Let's see.
Here we go. Take me down to the TP. Let's go to Target.
This thing got me in 3 positions. I had 3 pending orders at the same price. I don't like that. Look at that. Look at that drawdown. I'm gonna let it run.
Wow.
What happens? Look, it got me into 3, but let's see what happens. I don't like it. This could be my. This could turn my wins into losses, but I'm okay with it because I'm in discovery mode. I'm looking to figure out what works, what doesn't. I'm not going to blow my account. I'm not going to allow it to do that. So I must have had pending orders at the same price point that I did not see. Look at this, like for example here, you see this? These are the two price. I'm going to remove one. I'm going to remove one of those. So, I mean, that's a bug that was discovered. So I'm going to write that down. And I'm going to fix that. Let's see.
Come on, let's go. Come on, come on, come on.
And they were so stacked up, I couldn't see the different lines. But here it does look like that. But that's a bug. We're not going to let that happen ever again. Right? I should only be down $200, which is nothing. But now it's taking out a lot of the earned profits as far as a glitch. But hey, this is what we're doing. We're looking to break things. This is what we're doing when we're testing the trend lines. You know, a few of you have found some really good issues with it, and which is great, which is what we want. We want to break it. We want it to break.
Yeah, we want the problems for sure. Discover those now before we get too serious.
1000%, 1000%.
This is why I think it'll run so smooth with NAS, just because like when the pushes are there and the momentum or a break happens or something, identification happens within there, I feel like it might identify better than the market, because we get a lot of this with right now, perfect example with US 30, where it's just sometimes the 1 minute works out great, but other times it's just kind of dancing around and through like certain areas, certain like within a zone. So like the 1 minute may be within inside of a 30-minute or 1 hour or like a 4-hour zone per se. So it's kind of like dancing around the side of that.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So it already took the partials and protected. So I'm running protected, which damn, I wish I wasn't so protected at this point, right? But in this case, it freaking played out, and it's gotten the account now at 1575, all automatic. So it got me in. I mean, obviously then that was a good target area for the EA to pick on. So I'm going to check that off as a positive, because it is deciding on, you know, at good areas what to choose for entries. It knocks me out. I'm out of that trade, but I made on that trade, I would say almost $500.
That's a good area. I mean, it is a very valid target and like zone. So it's a very valid area for sure.
Nice. Yeah.
Very valid for a quick, what it's doing is 1 minute, you're hit the zone, getting a little bit of the bounce off of it on the 1 minute, which is drawing up. We're on the 30-minute candle. You got 7 minutes left in that candle. So it's kind of pushing up, creating, holding that wick, or it's going to kind of settle out and then it'll push back down, but definitely a little bit of a reaction off of that, because it's an identified rate. It's a very important area. So
yeah. Very, very cool. Yeah, I want to get this into you. So yeah, Fred, I'm, you know, like I talked to my bro and people on this, and I'm like, nah, I got to get this to my man, Fred. We got to get Fred on a meeting too, because I want you to break it. I want you to see things from your perspective also and break it. But like I said, I've worked through a lot of the issues. I really have. But a few others will show. So I just got to finish that and then, give you access to it. I want you to follow through, break it, put your eyes on it, see, hey man, why didn't you get in this? How come, your RSI divergence isn't, triggering off the way, we talked about it in the past and such. I want you to break it. That's
it'll be fascinating to see, fascinating to see how everything lines up. And then like, of course, obviously running on different time frames of reading those simultaneously at the same times, and how it's respecting everything all at once. I think that's wild that it's diversifying. Obviously you're center focus on the one right now, but there's a lot of value for sure in between, like when you're diversifying in between and going like to the 1 and the 5, or what runs better. Does the 5 do better on 30, or what's did kind of a whole lot more there. I mean, I ran the trend lines. I didn't get to run them for as long as I wanted to, And everything was really great on my end. I mean, I was seeing a lot of pretty good, healthy trend lines. Everything looked for identifying structure really great. I didn't have anything else running as far as like was taking trades off of them or anything like that. I was just kind of reviewing over where they were identifying them off of. But I don't really often do trend lines on every single time frame, or like 4, 30, 5, 1. I do trend lines on maybe 2 time frames at the most, because I don't need a lot of trend lines cluttered on my screen. Just the way I trade and my strategy. But I mean, it's great for that, the tool and the aspect of that. Just a quick identify, they pop up in seconds. It's just boom, it's there. If you like it, perfect. I think that's takes the questions out of it for a lot of people, because a lot of people have, struggle with identification of that. So I mean, that's huge for majority of people for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely adds value. And like to your point, I usually just run like the H4, and maybe I'll choose H5, depending on where price is, H5 or H1. I'm really not using many, to your point, I'm not using many. I want one where it's going to be, if it's going to be an H4 break, that should run, I would imagine, and especially if it's on zones, but even an H1 is like, hey, that'll be a more risky trade, but that'll get me in a little bit sooner, perhaps. And that's it. That's really, the key for me with how I use it. But I do want to start using it a little bit more with the LB zones and trend lines as additional confluence, which maybe it'll be visible on the chart, or maybe it'll be invisible, but it's calculating it automatically. Because there's so many different strategies with coupling those up, and the more confluence we have, the more confidence we have. So
yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, easy identification would be like where you have a trend line, top or bottom, but then you have price that's on the zone. So if you can immediately relay those two things together and say, okay, once this zone is confirmed, I already have a pre-identification structure of a trend line here right above me, and this zone has been confirmed. It's giving you a lot more confidence of like the direction of what's going to happen with the price in the market. It's just the validation of people between understanding if a zone has been confirmed, and what confirms a zone is a big question for a lot of people. And once you understand what confirms a zone, and then if the zone is holding, it's holding. That's bottom line. That's bottom line. Like, you got to stop trying to go looking for sales or looking for something else. If the zone is holding, it is holding, depending on if the value of that zone is at a very key significant zone. Okay. So there's definitely values of different time zones and the value they hold against price. But if you're playing on a significant one and you have a trend line, right above it, very close in structure, it's just, that's the correlation confidence of where you get the opportunities to either enter in premature to the trend line, or it really lines up and makes it look sense. I might have to be really clean, and they've just got to be plain as day. Like I said, I may run like 4 hour, maybe 30 occasionally. But they've got to be clean as, just super, super clean.
Exactly. That's crazy. I mean, when as you're explaining things, it's like, my brain is triggering off, and I'm saying, it's got to be confirmed. It'd be great. So I'm drawing these out, but maybe there was a way we could, confirm, for example, zones, confirm the zone. Hey, this was confirmed, this is confirmed. And maybe it broadcasts to people that these are the confirmed zones that maybe the senior traders, have recognized. And now maybe the EA will look at that different, or weigh it differently. Maybe, there could be logic around that. Because right now it's dumb in a sense. Hey, I've got a zone, I detected a zone, it's rejecting or it's breaking, I'm gonna get in the trade. But maybe there's, a score that is created if someone went in and says, these areas are truly influential zones. So we're gonna score this differently. Maybe that has a weight character on position size. We'll take a little bit more risk, or things like that. So it's just it just becomes unlimited. But as I'm hearing you talk about how you were just saying confirmed, it just triggered a different thought. Hey, it'd be crazy if we were able to score trend lines as in terms of strength, or zones in terms of strength, or time periods in terms of strength right now, and then the EA can make behavioral adjustments.
Yeah, it'd be huge. That's the strategy that I taught to a few people, you know, that I use as mine, is the biggest thing is people that play is they play off of, even with the LBs a lot of times, is when the LB triggers, it's not immediately when the trigger happens, it's after the confirmation of the trigger. So it's the key is waiting for confirmations to can be confirmed of wherever that is, that zone or what that is. And that's the big issue, is identifying when is the confirmed signal, when is it been confirmed, and then that's the moment of when you can actually go for those entries, because everybody wants to rush for a rejection or rush for the support, but you're not playing off with a confirmed. So that's 99% of the reason why people lose out, is because they're not playing off of confirmed. And that's the big, that's the big issue that I see. So, if that is something that can be created and solved and logically identified, I have ways of way I create to identify those things in the market. For me, it's, obviously it works clearly, but that's the biggest key to make it or break it. I truly believe is when you change your step-by-steps, like I have a checkbox that I play out from analysis to entry. And if those check boxes aren't checked, then I'm not taking the trades. And in part of that system, confirmation, identification of confirmation, and having confirmation of certain specifics has to be there. That's the biggest piece for me. I think that changes the most of why I've, been able to get some good trades.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 1,000%. That's the reason why people are late, or people getting trades either too late or too early, right? They've either waited too long, they didn't recognize that these confirmation, everything was confirmed and ready to go, and they're looking for something else, or they get in early. When I first started, I was always in trades early. I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
Yes.
I think my direction is great, but I picked the right direction. I'm on fire with that, but I'm losing every trade. Why is that? And it's because of my confirmation of confirming it. And
exactly.
I think people think of trading as, you've got to be super fast. Like, for example, the M1, you got to be super fast. And it's true, you've got to be super fast. But at the same time, you're super slow because you're waiting for confirmations to happen before you begin to pick up the speed, before you begin to enter. And,
that's the big
people
difference.
don't wait for that step. They think, oh, I see something, I got to just jump on it. Where really, that double top rejection is really what you want to wait for. You don't always want to wait for the first one. You want to wait for that retest or other things to really paint the picture and give you confidence as to why you're entering the position in the first place.
I think that's the make it or break it between like me and any other traders, or how I trade anyways. I don't compare myself to anybody, but just the way I trade is just like, if you're skipping and you're jumping ahead of that, you already cut your risk completely. Like, it's at the highest rate per se, because you're gambling at that point. If you're playing anything premature to confirmation of however your strategy is, you're gambling at that sense. Like, you may have an idea of the direction, but if you don't have clear confirmation that market is changing for that direction, you're just pre-gambling. And a lot of people do get lucky with it per se. They catch a little bit of drawdown. It's also one of the number one reasons why I don't ever get drawdown. I'm never in drawdown. You're never going to catch me in drawdown. I don't do drawdown because there's no reason to be in drawdown. Honestly, no one should be in drawdown if you're playing. I don't know if you're playing confirmed moves. Like, if you're not, because if you're in drawdown, that means the market is not confirmed and you're chasing a reversal. That's all that means. Like, if you're, it's literally all that means is like, your entry sucks. Like, you are not playing off of confirmed identification technicals in the market. So that's, you're just jumping into it, expecting a reversal to happen here. And so you're in drawdown right now, waiting for that to happen. So it's it's a very significant piece. It is like very fast, but honestly, the more you slow down in the market, the better it becomes, and the bigger your moves get. So there's a reason why, like, I'm still in my sales right now from 33, 380, 3885. And it's slowing down and waiting for those confirmed. And now, when I was coaching and teaching those, like, I don't know, it was like 10 people, whatever, just for fun. I've never did it before. I was like, sure, I'll just share my strategy with some people. And it was just that significance of like the massive change that happened whenever they started to implement that into their strategy, and to use that changed everything, like completely everything for them individually, just because you put yourself on such a high percentage of a win, like your win rate will increase so much higher because you are playing off of the final move or the final confirm. Now, there's so many different identifications that come down into identifying what is a confirm, what confirms a zone, what confirms. I don't do trend lines a lot, but a little bit per se, but what confirms that? What is showing you bullish? What is you showing you, rejection? And, there's most of it's a lot of little basic candle structures. That's really what it is. So it's important to understand and identify those. And those are very basic, but they play a significant role when you are trying to wait for a confirmation and something to be confirmed to tell you that, okay, yes, this is a valuable support area and we're going to continue to change for the new direction now. Yeah. If not, everything in between just gets different. That's my opinion and I do a lot of that off of, the 5 minute, but when you get down to the 1 minute, you're actually playing within those second touches or those third or whatever those are. So it can be very fast. So if you're a 1 minute person, you do have to be very quick. You're very fast. You're getting every rejection, every support touch, you're all that action. So it can be tricky to identify some of those things and catch those confirmations on the one because they happen so often for people. Yeah. That's why it's valuable with the software is doing it. You can monitor a little bit better with that, oversee it, but it's very quick. It's in and out. It's popping. But a lot of those, it could be it's difficult to advance and identify across if it's actually confirming or just playing on a zone and touching it, half a dozen times. You have to use a little bit higher of a time frame to identify if the true confirmation is actually holding and be able to see some candle basic structure to say, okay, this is confirmed. Like this is holding. We are solid here.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. No, that was very, very good. That was a good explanation. And yeah, I mean, helping people understand what is a good confirmation is key, right? I mean, that's what people, what does that mean? What does confirmed mean to many of these traders? I mean, that could be overwhelming. But you're 100% right. Once you get that down pat, there's no big deal with, there's no need to be in drawdown. And that's the thing that I always say, hey, look, we don't do drawdown, blah, blah, blah. Oh, shoot, this thing got me into a trade and took a partial already. And it made, it literally just took a partial. This time it took the partial on the buy off the 1 minute. And I mean, that happened within a matter of just seconds. And I'm at 110, another $110 made.
That's super fast. I mean, it's definitely valid because the area where it's bouncing off of is a significant zone. So like, it's so fast.
Yeah, it's crazy. But
I don't like to be that fast. I can rush myself I find myself, if I rush myself to get into those, like it's super quick as far as jumping in it and it's just drawing up. Yeah. But it's like, it's so fast. I'm very uncomfortable with that because I'm like, I try to wait and be slower with it and be, follow along with the setup that I've created. And those fast ones like that, like I can do them, but they eventually trip me up if I try to start doing that because then I lose sense of direction
of where you're at in the market at that time. Yeah, it can be very, very tricky. Very, very tricky.
Yeah, so, I lose sense of direction very easy. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Look at this. I'm taking this L because it got me in another position. I'm taking this L. I'm eating this L. I'm at 1657 profit, but I'm down here. Let's see what it does. I mean, if this is going to melt, it feels. But I should have another position that will hopefully recoup. One thing about this EA is that it does recoup any L's pretty quickly. Right now, my biggest L for the day is this trade for sure, if it doesn't pan out. But if not, I think the next biggest L is $15, which is what I just incurred, a $15 loss. But we'll see what happens. I mean, because this thing, speaking of, is it confirmed? This is a retest or a double bottom of a previous on the M1. So we'll see. The M30 and the M5 still look and feel very, very bearish. I mean, the pressure looks very strong, feels strong, but we'll see how this plays out. This may take a third of profits, but let's let it run. Let's see what it does. And once again, because my first position was protected and it got me in on a second position on that second candle, and then it melted. So definitely don't like that behavior. So once again, so I disabled the EA, but what I want to do is I want to change this here. Yeah, this is going to drop. This is going to be a losing trade, I believe. But I want to change this to, where is it? Where is it? Or maybe up to 1.
Let's go, man. Come on now.
Yeah, that's a 1. And on the 30, I do have a pending order here sitting, so it may be.
It needs to sink.
Yeah,
It's about to just drop. We're going all the way
to
to
close this. I'm going to close
30,
this position.
33,400. Just going to keep rolling.
Yeah, if it drops, I mean, I'll catch it here and hopefully make up for some of these profits. So this L doesn't impact me or doesn't really affect me because I believe that I will definitely make it up.
We get that kind of drop, I'm closing the computer for the day.
Yeah. So I manually closed that L. I took that L. The account took that was a big L, but the account is still up for the day, $800. So it took a 50% L on that one. Once again, because it did that re-entry. It re-entered the position twice. And that's just a learning, that's something just to learn, and just be able to allow it to be configurable. And it seems to be. Well, I did. I configured it so that it'll only take one position. Let's see what happens if it gets me in this other sell order.
All right. 580 coming up.
Yep. Yep.
Let's go.
Now in
We're
sight.
sitting at 73. Or yeah.
Look, it got me in these positions again, which I didn't see. Why is it getting me? Why is it entering 3 times?
Nas, I shouldn't be on here right now because Nas drop is crazy right now.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I'm up ridiculous right now. I'm at 69 on this one right now on 30.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm sitting at 6,900 on this drop right here on 30.
Oh, that's great. That's really good.
Nas already just Nas doubled that though, because the drop on Nas already fulfilled it and actually broke its bottom zone. So that's why I'm saying 30 could absolutely just smash down to the bottom. We could crush that bottom zone potentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nas was so clean. That's what I'm saying. There's no hesitation with Nas. You notice it broke the zone at the top, super clear as day. It was beautiful, broke it, sailed on down. Nothing really stopped it on the way down at all, and just kept cruising. And so what happens at that point is once you get back to an area of previous support, of course, this is basic knowledge, but once you get back to that, it retested to the T of the line perfectly of the previous baseline support. And then what did it do? Bounced up, and then it broke right through it. So obviously on a larger time frame, that was the confirmation of that zone was happening then. That was the confirmation, whether or not we held that zone or not. If we held it, that was made that area extremely valuable. But if we broke right through it, which is what's going to happen, you're either going to smash right through it per se, or it's going to bounce back.
Yeah.
But it just sailed right through it. So 30, I don't know why would it not do the same thing? It should sail on down there, which I definitely suspect it will.
Yeah.
Which we'll take that all day.
We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see what happens here.
Come on.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. So once again, it's creating these orders. I better look and see if these orders are being created too close to each other. There's a buy at 34051 and 33974. That's a good enough distance. So yeah, until I ship these logs over and do my homework after the trading day, I won't know. But let's see if this thing melts.
Oh, come on.
it's really reactive to this level. It's just not pushing through so cleanly, but
Yeah, this is, you're getting really close to your baseline. So like that 33, 580, 585 to 600 is kind of getting closer to your, this is your baseline of support, which is where we found support from before we launched off for that really long push. So this is considered your baseline, which is where we're starting to see that little bit of reaction starting to happen here for sure.
let's see. I'm gonna write this down here. I want to write a few notes down on this one. I did it a few times. This is a priority one issue.
Oh, let's see.
Fix. Yeah, I don't like that it's overexposing me at the same price point. It makes no sense to have multiple orders at the same price point.
Yeah, at the same price, that's very interesting. That's not a good thing. I would just, it's doubling, not doubling down per se. I mean, if it's going to react the same and it operates the same one, even if it doubles down, but still, if it's a very high lot sizes, you don't want to be, just for risk management purposes, you don't want to be going.
Exactly. And it's a clear glitch because then I would have just opened up one position with one lot size, right?
Yeah.
And not three, right? So not
And then partialed it
three at
down.
the same time, partial them down along the way. So it's really, really odd that it did that. And that's the first time that I've seen that behavior. I don't know if it's just because it's this market condition where it was constantly giving me LBs at a certain level and then finding the same opportunity. But there's definitely a bug. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, this is where I gotta put this here. I do not like that. I'm gonna let this run. This thing is putting me in a negative. I'm in a good drawdown amount right now, and I'm okay with that because I want to see what happens. It would be great if I could end the day in the positive, but it's got me in the negative. Price 5. Close this out.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing too about it as well, is you think about it like, you can let that thing, let's just say you run it for New York session. Maybe you let it run for 3 hours or something. You read it like hour before market open till 2 hours afterwards. So 3 hours, 3.5, 4 hours, whatever it does during that time period. Great, perfect. Then you cut it off. I mean, it did 800, you know, in an hour, over 1,000 in a little over an hour. So I mean, that's it. No, you don't really don't need to be doing any more than that. I mean, that's phenomenal. Let it run to that session and then boom, be done with it. And then turn it off. I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, there's no reason for it to continue running, for it to try to dance around in unsettled conditions, or when market it goes off, or at the end of market closure, or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, I think that's phenomenal from what it does. I mean, that's my personal opinion, and that's what I would do. Like if I was letting it run on my end for operate for me, I mean, I would probably just let it do its thing for that time period, and then, you know, shut it down. It's a great day.
Yeah, day's over. Like yesterday, the day was really over, and I didn't even need it, but the day was over by 9:30. The day was done, and then
you're at 1,000. Yeah, I think you hit 1,750. Or
for today, yeah, for today, yep, exactly.
So I mean, that's like boom, that's done. That's done for the day right there.
And yesterday was even better, and I could have just been done for the, you know, I could have just ended my day at 9 o'clock. I got my first call at 9 o'clock and had conversations. I'm like, well, really, my day is done, but you know, I did let it trade, trade a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's the thing too. Like even yesterday, you know, I don't know how long did you run it for? That's a good question, I guess. How long did you run it for?
Well, I ended up running it actually until maybe 11:30. My 11:30.
Okay.
So yeah, so 11 about your 2:30, 3:30, 2:30, 1:30.
11 to 1:30.
No, I ran it from market open, or like 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. 11
to 11 a.m. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, more than enough.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, they did crush it. Amazing numbers too, as well. So, I mean, that's just something that people have to pick between, of course, as well, as far as like, you know, you let it run for 2 sessions or for the full day time period, and then, or a half a day. And then once you see the amount, cool, you know, you cut it off. Or you're maybe one day the market looks good, so you let it run all day because it's doing so well, per se. Yeah. But if the market's slow and it's just kind of like not giving a lot, there's not a lot going on, you get something in the first hour or two, perfect, cool, cut it off. You know, it's just like, but like yesterday, obviously, like you said, it was really milking the market because there was a lot of ranging. It was just really going at it. So it was like perfect for it. Yeah. To kind of run. So it just made sense. Like, sure, let this thing keep eating, and you were up so much. It was like, well.
Exactly. I was able to, you know, let it run, but in reality, you know, shutting it down would have been just perfect. You know, early on. And there are scheduled hours you could put this on. I think I've got the scheduled hours set for, once I move it over, I think I have it set for only until until 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah, set for just to run until 10 o'clock, and then it should just shut down at that point.
Oh man, look at that. Got that, missed it by like 10 points, 33,595.
Yeah.
Bounced off. So did it go into a trade off of that? Did it go into a buy?
It did not go into a buy. No, it did not go into a buy at all. It's still holding on to that sell.
Okay.
But it's holding into that sell 3 times because of that glitch.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right, so it's in good drawdown. I'm gonna let it run, and yeah, it was close. I'm gonna let it run and see what happens. I don't like drawdown.
Let's see what happens. I mean, it'll bring itself back out at all, and like it's very consistent with digging itself out.
Yeah, exactly. So it's either gonna close these out as a L and then, you know, put that behind and then catch up along the way, or this trade will pan out. We'll see.
Yeah,
One,
I mean,
or the other.
It's very likely it could still pan out. This is not done yet, so
yeah.
Dang, that was close. Well, I'm gonna jump off, guys. I mean, I'm just gonna let this thing. I'm down to just one position left running. I closed out the second one at this spot, which was my original target, but I'm gonna leave one running for me and just see what happens, just based off of how bearish it looks currently, and nothing's been confirmed. So
Nice. No, that was really good. That was a really good move. And I think I'm going to stop it here because I'm so anxious to just go into the code and put that fix in, because I don't want to see that happen again tomorrow or anything where it's entering or setting up targets at the same price. Look, you know, I definitely don't want that to happen. So I'm going to hop off as well. And if I see anything later on, I'll drop another link and in the chat and we'll all join.
yeah, I'd be interested to hear how that kind of pans out after doing multiple positions in there at the same time. Does it play out well? Does it end up taking a loss and then making it up, or does that move actually continue to play out and it just had maybe a rough entry per se that the market kind of went opposite to it? So that'd be interesting to see.
Exactly. I'm going to definitely update the group on it. That's why I'm really trying to just let it run and let it do what it does. I need to really see how it works. And this behavior is different than what we saw earlier. Earlier, what it was doing on the 1 minute was it was entering every candle because it was finding opportunities to size up in position, which is different than this. This one just immediately opened 3 times the amount of lot size that I want to have. It just opened all 3 positions up at once, which is, you know, clearly not the behavior we want. So, but I'm going to let it run and see what happens. See if it closes out in the positive or in the negative, and then if the EA catches up with some quick, partials along the way to make up for the L that it could take.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like you're in your continuation bands there too. So,
yeah. So,
awesome.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. Once again, this was a good morning. It was fantastic. Hopefully, everyone learned something and also made some good money. And I will keep everyone posted. I'll let you know.
Thanks, Squawk.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye-bye.